They say marriage is a partnership. Ours always felt like one until his family decided it wasn't. My name is Vera, 35, living in Boston. And for the last 5 years, I've run my own fashion label from the ground up. It started with sketches on my kitchen table and turned into a business with 30 employees, national distribution, and quarterly features in the New England style. I work long hours, but I love what I do. My husband Jason, also 35, used to be a pastry chef. Brilliant, gentle, soft-spoken. But a few years ago, he was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease that made full-time work impossible. We had a conversation. I'd focus on the business, and he'd manage things at home. He cooked, cleaned, and took care of the everyday details most people overlook. It worked for us. We lived in a luxury 4-bedroom high-rise apartment in the South End. Big windows, polished wood floors, a gourmet kitchen, the kind of place we used to dream about. Rent, $5,300 a month. All paid by me. Lease in my name. Decor, furnishings, everything chosen and paid for by me. And still somehow, none of that seemed to matter when she walked in. Lindsey, Jason's sister, 43, unemployed, emotionally allergic to accountability, and convinced the universe owed her a soft life for simply existing. She had bounced from man to man, job to job, and town to town. Somehow, she always landed back at her parents' place in Worcester with an iced coffee and a fresh excuse. I hadn't seen her in over a year when she showed up one rainy Friday with 2 rolling suitcases and a smug little smile. Little brother, she cooed, brushing past Jason at the door like she lived there. Hope you don't mind. Just need a soft place to land. Jason looked stunned but said nothing. I stood, frozen, keys still in hand. Hi, Lindsey, I said. What brings you to Boston? Oh, men, mistakes, the usual. She plopped herself on the couch, kicked off her boots, and added, just a few days, promise. It wasn't a few days. By the second week, she had made herself right at home. She commandeered the guest room, started ordering groceries to our address using my Prime account, and acted like she was doing us a favor by gracing us with her presence. It must be so nice, she said one morning, watching me rush out with my laptop bag. Being a breadwinner while your husband folds dish towels. I turned to Jason. He just looked away. She began changing things, rearranging furniture, bringing in decor from discount stores that clashed with everything we owned. I came home one day to find the guest bath painted lavender. You're welcome, she said. The worst part? Jason didn't stop her. He said he didn't want to cause conflict. She's going through a rough time, he whispered. Just let her settle. It's temporary. But nothing about Lindsey was ever temporary. By the week, she started dropping hints about family togetherness. To lay out would be perfect for Mom and Dad, she said, while sipping wine at 11 a.m. Evader access, extra bedrooms, and you two could downsize a little. Get a cozy 2-bedroom somewhere in Dorchester. Fresh start. I laughed. You're kidding, right? She tilted her head. I mean, Vera, this place is huge. You don't need all this space, and Mom says she's tired of the suburbs. I didn't answer. Jason rubbed his forehead and walked into the kitchen. The final straw came the day I came home early. I walked into the apartment to find cardboard boxes stacked in the living room. My boxes, my clothes, my shoes, my scarves, all packed like someone had ordered a moving service without me. Jason was standing by the couch holding one of my heels like it was a weapon. Lindsey was on the sectional sipping Chardonnay and scrolling on her phone. Hey, she said, without looking up. Figured I'd help you start packing. Mom and Dad are moving in next weekend. We need to clear space. I stood there frozen. What? She finally looked up. Well, obviously they're going to need the master bedroom. They're not going to sleep in that tiny guest room. I mean, come on. They're in their 60s. Are you seriously moving them in? chagrined. Not moving. More like transitioning. I told them they could start bringing stuff over this weekend. Oh, and I scheduled a cleaning crew to deep clean your office so we can convert it into Dad's study. My office, I said slowly. Where do I run my company? Jason tried to speak, but Lindsey cut in. You'll find a new space, maybe away work. You're resourceful. I stared at her, then at Jason. He looked like a ghost. You're kicking me out of my own home, I whispered. Lindsey rolled her Ys. Don't be so dramatic. It's not your home. It's a rental. Calm down. My pulse pounded. I walked into the bedroom. More boxes. Half the closet is empty. Photos gone from the nightstand. When I came back out, Jason had sat down on the arm of the couch, hands shaking. I tried to slow her down. He mumbled. She boxed my things, I said. I didn't know what to do, he whispered. Lindsey stood and stretched. I told Mom I'd FaceTime her tomorrow for a walkthrough. She's so excited. She keeps saying this place is perfect. Oh, and the building manager already gave me a visitor's pass, so it's basically official. She walked over, smiling like a cat who swallowed the canary. You're resilient, Vera. You'll land on your feet. Just think of this as a transition, a rebalancing. You've been living a little too large, don't you think? I stared at her, and I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink. Instead, I walked to the hall closet, took out a small red binder, and flipped it open. It was the original lease agreement. My name, my terms, my initials on every page. Lindsey laughed when she saw it. Oh, please. You think paperwork scares me? I snapped the binder shut and smiled. No, I said. I think consequences do. Jason's head jerked up. Lindsey's grin faltered. You want the apartment? I asked. You can have it. What? I walked to the coat rack, grabbed my keys, and tossed them onto the coffee table. Just don't forget I'll pay next month's rent. She blinked. You're leaving? I turned toward the door. I'm making space. That's what you wanted, right? Jason stood up. Vera, wait. But I was already walking out, one step ahead of the storm. I had no intention of stopping. Jason called me 5 times that night. I didn't answer. I stayed at a hotel downtown just one night, then moved into my parents' house in Cambridge. I hadn't lived there since college. But when I showed up at their doorstep with my laptop and a weekender bag, my mom just said, "Your old room's clean. I'll make tea." No interrogation. No, I told you so. Just quiet comfort and a clear head. The next morning, while sipping coffee on their back porch, I logged into the apartment portal and submitted a formal 30-day lease termination. Technically, I didn't have to wait 30 days. I was the sole lessee. No subletting clause, no roommate protection. But I wanted time for them to settle in, get comfortable, feel like they'd won. Let them unpack their delusions because I wasn't done. Not even close. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with a message from the building manager. Hi, Vera. Just confirming you're vacating at the F the month. 3 new people have been living in the unit. Should I expect their names on the new lease? I smiled and typed back. No lease transfer. I'll be turning in keys and canceling the unit entirely. And just like that, the clock started ticking. Jason eventually reached me. He texted late one night. I didn't agree to any of this. I froze. I panicked. Please, can we talk? So we met. Neutral ground, a coffee shop in the South End. He looked exhausted, pale, thinner, his hands trembling slightly as he held the cup. I'm sorry, he whispered. I should have stopped her, but she's loud, and Mom listens to her. I didn't know how to say no. You didn't even try, I said. He nodded, eyes wet. You left like it was all over. You boxed my life. No, she did. You watched her do it. I snapped. and then stood by while she told me my home didn't belong to me. Jason closed his eyes. I never said that. You didn't have to. He sat in silence. Then I leaned in. I'm ending the lease. End of the month. You have until then. His eyes widened. You're canceling it? Yes, but Lindsey thinks. I know what Lindsey thinks. Letter. Back at the apartment, things escalated. Lindsey threw a welcome home brunch for her parents that weekend. Neighbors later told me it was loud, tacky, and full of statements like, "We'll renovate this hallway," and "I've always wanted a reading nook right here." Narcissus is in nesting mode. Someone even snapped a photo of Lindsey, her parents flanking her one either side, posing on the balcony with wine glasses and smug grins. It ended upon Instagram with the caption, "Starting our new chapter, Boston, finally feels like home." I screenshotted it because I knew what came next. Jason and I didn't talk much during those weeks, but I knew he was struggling. One of my former employees who still lived in the building sent me updates. She'd passed them in the elevator. The parents had moved in officially. Lindsey took the master suite. Jason had been demoted to the smallest guest room. She even repurposed my old office into a yoga studio despite not doing yoga. She said, "It's for vibes." My friend wrote, "I let it happen. They thought I'd surrendered. I let them decorate, photograph, host, brag." A few days before the month ended, I called the building manager. Maintenance will need to do a full walkthrough. The unit will be vacated by Friday. He hesitated. And the others? There won't be others. Friday came. At 8:14 a.m., I got the call. I'd been waiting for Lindsey. She didn't even say hello. What the hell is going on? I sipped my tea. "Good morning to you too. The building manager just told me we need to vacate. He said the leaseholder is terminating." "That's correct. You can't do that." "I already did 2 weeks ago." Her voice shrieked through the speaker. "You need to fix this. We live here." "No," I said calmly. "You squatted here, and the lease was always under my name. But the furniture, mine. But Jason didn't sign anything." There was a long pause, then a sharp inhale. "Do you know how much it would cost to get a new place like this?" "About $5,300 a month," I said, "if you can find one." Lindsey's voice cracked. "We sold the house, and Mom put everything into this move." I closed my eyes. "Then you should have asked before stealing someone else's home. But you walked out." "No, I let you dig your own grave." I heard sobbing in the background. Then her father's voice, muffled but angry. Her mother's too. Something about real estate scams. And she said it was hers. Lindsey came back in. Jason knew he didn't stop it. "He didn't write the check," I replied. Silence again. "Then what the hell are we supposed to do now?" I let the silence stretch. "You can always try that yoga room you built," I said, and ended the call. I didn't go back to the apartment. I didn't need to. A neighbor, someone I barely knew who once complimented my shoes in the elevator, sent me a video. It showed Lindsey yelling at the building manager in the hallway. Her mother was sitting on a step, red-faced and sweating, holding a houseplant like it was a wounded pet. Her father paced in circles, asking where their things would go. Jason stood off to the side, hands stuffed into his jacket, not saying a word. The caption read, "And here, I thought Boston was expensive because of the views." I watched it once, saved it, and then deleted it. Closure isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet click in a closed folder. That weekend, my parents and I helped Jason move into the guest house behind their place. Yes, Jason. He called me 2 days after the eviction notice hit. Not begging, but soft-spoken. "I made a mistake," he said. "I let them speak for me." "And you didn't speak for me at all," I replied. He didn't argue. "I don't deserve to come back," he added. I paused. "No," I said. "You don't. But I still love you," he said. And I'll prove it, even if I have to start from the garden shed. So, Wes started small. He stayed out back. We had dinners on the porch. I gave him space. He respected it. His health still came and went in waves, but he was cooking again just for us. No expectations, no promises, just presence. Lindsey, meanwhile, was scrambling. According to building gossip, she tried to bluff the manager into giving her a new lease, claiming she'd take over the apartment and outpie anyone else. Then she learned the rent was over $5,000 a month. She paid. She tried to get her parents to co-sign. They'd just sold their house to move in with her, remember? The problem was, all that money had already been spent. Moving fees, furniture, flashy social posts, new outfits for her city transformation, and zero savings left. So, when the lease wasn't extended and the eviction window closed, they had no place to go. Not even a motel. Another message landed in my inbox. It was a photo. Lindsey is in a work apron, standing behind the counter of a 24-hour diner near South Station. Her mother sat at a back booth eating hash browns. Her father mopped in the corner. The caption, "Guess the city didn't welcome them the way they expected." I didn't laugh. I didn't smirk. I just closed my laptop. Sometimes the universe does the heavy lifting. 1 month later, Jason moved out of the guest house and into a rental 2 blocks away. He insisted on paying for it himself, using a small inheritance he'd been holding on to. "I need to prove I'm not just someone people take care of," he said. "I don't want to be your shadow anymore." He wasn't asking to be taken back. He was asking to grow, and so was I. We started going to therapy separately, then eventually together. We didn't call it a reconciliation. We called it a reconstruction. And slowly, brick by emotional brick, we began again on solid ground. As for the apartment, I let it go. The space had been beautiful, but the energy tainted. I used my business bonus to place a down payment on a sunlit condo in Beacon Hill. Smaller, quieter. Mine. I furnished it slowly. Jason helped hang one painting. He didn't try to unpack anything else. Months later, I bumped into Lindsey by accident. I was coming out of a fabric shop near the station. She was walking out of a payday loan center 2 doors down. She didn't see me at first, but when she did, her face froze. I smiled politely. She said nothing, just turned away and kept walking, her heels scuffed, her bag unraveling at the seams. And in that moment, I didn't feel triumph. I felt done, completely, deeply, peacefully done. Jason joined me for dinner that night. I served roasted squash and honey-glazed salmon. He brought tea. "You're quiet," he said. I nodded. "I saw her today." He didn't ask who. He didn't have to. "Did you speak?" he asked. "No, but for the first time, I didn't want to." Jason reached for my hand. "You know," he said, "I still think about how she called you a parasite." I laughed. Funny. I paid every bill while she was draining her parents' retirement. She thought she won, headed. She never even played the game, I said. She just stole the scoreboard. We sat in silence for a while. Then I leaned back and said, "People think power is about control, about owning things, but real power, it's knowing when to walk away and letting the trap close behind you."